you know, I'm fascinated by music lineage and you know, music history. So in your travels through the last 3 or 4 decades, what are some of the bands that have kind of turned you on? You've seen this band, these guys really made an impression. I mean, what are some of the bands that have made an impact on you and in your travels over the years?
Wow. You know, I was lucky enough that when I started out, I was opening act at the Grandee Ballroom in the 60s. I opened for Cream, I opened for The Who. I saw Jimi Hendrix play in a converted bowling alley in Ann Arbor, Michigan, with the suit, with the eyes, with Mitch Mitchell, Noel Redding, Van Morrison, Astral Weeks band at the Troubadour. Yeah, Troubadour in LA. And Van had, you know, Van's surly, so he has this one thing, his stage move, he'll pick up a bar chair and wave it over his head like he's going to throw it at somebody. And that's his big move, so he did that, you know. I saw Dylan play at a Masonic temple in Detroit with the Hawks, but with Robbie Robertson on lead, and that was really good. And Cream were interesting because they just, you know, they put the drums. It was really the drummer in that band, you know, more than the other two. It was incredible, his groove. And so it was mostly that whole era. I even saw in that ballroom, Sly came through when he had Dance to the Music. Aside from that era of bands, then the big thing for me that really changed my life was when James Brown got onto the white radio. And I started hearing that, and I was like, you know, Cold Sweat, Out of Sight, and then later Make It Funky, Funky Drummer, I Can't Stand It. There was a time, and what they were doing with the space suddenly became spare and articulated and all that. That really did it for me. MC5 were big for me too. But they had their flaws, but they were really like, you know, wow. You know, I mean, these guys were going for it.
Fire.
They were on fire. What? I grudgingly must admit that Thin Lizzy had some things going for him.
Phil Lynott was it?
Huh? Yeah.
Phil Lynott.
The guy. That guy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know about the guitar twins and everything, but he's something else.
But again, also that drummer Brian Downey,
very fine.
Really swing,
yeah.
Really move that shit along.
I played a gig with, you know, Slade.
Wow.
yeah.
Well, I mean, back in like
back in the early.
Yeah,
I played a gig with Slade, and I'm told that their roadie chased me around the hotel with an axe. I don't know if it's true or not, but it was Jay Giles' band, Slade, and
was that in England or was it in the States?
In Florida.
Okay.
And they could play. They could really play.
No, Noddy Holder had an almost like when I go back and listen to some of those songs, it was almost like a Lennon-esque quality to the song.
That voice.
Yeah, and to his there was a kind of a poetic undertone because they often get dumped in with like Sweet and, you know, some of those guys which were maybe not quite as deep, but Noddy Holder really had
pretty harsh.
substance.
They could bang it, you know.